Hello and welcome, it's Neil Dugan here. We're just continuing the group of videos here, the series of videos which are supporting the conversations books and also the work that we're doing with the Coherence device, so the actual Coherence machine. We've had a look at the head brain, we've had a look at the thoracic brain, we've had a look at the abdominal brain, and now we're having a look at the pelvic brain. As I mentioned when we were looking at the abdominal brain, anatomically it's harder to see the division or the separation between the abdominal brain and the pelvic brain. However, the functioning of them is so different that it's easy to see that there is a differentiation. What we are looking at here is a neurological web. So this is a web of neurological structures which are spread throughout the pelvic floor. So the pelvic floor is in itself a web of muscles which support the bottom of the abdomen. So this is how we, these are the muscles that are involved in things like prolapses and that type of thing. And obviously delivering babies and being able to pass motions and all that sort of thing all involve the engagement and the activation of the pelvic floor. In addition to that is the reproductive organs, and these are the inner structures of the reproductive organs as well as the external structures of the reproductive organs, all of which have very, very significant amounts of neurological structures associated with them. And for many people who are watching this, I can feel a wry smile occurring on your face, and it's because we talk about people thinking with their pants, and generally it's women saying about men that they're thinking with their pants, and fair enough too, because they are actually thinking with their pants. They're thinking with this pelvic brain and managing all kinds of processing that's going on there. As we mentioned in the earlier videos for the other brain structures, within the area that we're talking about, the reproductive organs and the pelvic floor, there is an outstanding relationship going on with endocrine structures. So these are structures that are creating all kinds of hormonal signaling which goes all around the body. So obviously for women it's uterus, ovaries and the actual sexual structures. Same thing with men, but it's the prostate and all of the organs sitting around it, and the the sexual structures as well. So that's the actual physical brain. If we have a look at some really interesting things that have come out of the Coherence work. So one of the things that I noticed right from the very beginning when I was working with Coherence and I was developing version 1 of the Coherence device, and even before that when I was doing the really early experimentation, what I observed was that there was a frequency, like a natural frequency of cycling for this pelvic brain. And the natural frequency was 96, which is a high number compared with the head brain, which is 9, and the gut brain, which is 6. So these are high numbers that we're talking about. The mind levels are different numbers again. But anyway, I was just when I was beginning to do this work, I was having a look at what was going on with clients, and so client after client that would come through would be looking at it, and it was clear that the pelvic brain, like this actual brain in the pelvis, was overclocking, like in a big way. So it's already a rapidly moving in its natural state of functioning, but for most people that I was seeing, it was overclocking, like it's really busy, it's really overclocking. Now, with any of these frequencies that we're working with, the whole idea of working with the Coherence device is to actually assist the person in therapy and in meditation into a place where they are actually at a relaxed state, with what's going on. And what was happening here, once I started working with them, is that we're able to get all kinds of releases at the physical level. So we're talking about the physical brain, the operation of the physical brain here. We could get all kinds of releases going on just by actually bringing this cycling down into the natural state. You could say that would be a general thing for the other physical brains as well. But this pelvic brain, it's a standout. It's an absolute standout for as an area of dysfunction. As I say, I work in a Western context. I have no idea if that observation that I've been making would also apply into an Eastern context, or perhaps into an African context or something like that. Who knows? Like, I would have to actually go and do more research and work with larger communities and other cultures to actually be able to understand that. But what I know without a shadow of a doubt is that people that I've been seeing who are in this Western context, they're really, really struggling with the functioning of this physical brain. Obviously, the physical brain is associated with the sex centre, and the sex centre, apart from looking after reproduction, which is clearly an aspect of its functioning, its standout role is actually in community, is actually forming and creating communities and being able to do all of that. So, being able to actually, be part of a group that is, for example, being at work, or, if you're a younger person, being at school, or being with a group of kids that are up and down the street. To do any of that stuff, you actually need to have the mind associated with this brain functioning well. And of course, we see the mirroring of that down into the functioning of the physical brain, because that's what we're talking about here, is the physical brain. And what it tends to do is, when it's dysfunctioning, is that it disrupts the communication amongst all of the other brains. So we've not really covered this at all yet, but the huge piece of work here in the physical is to actually have clear signalling going on between all of the brains. And when I've been looking at disease, because disease is largely a function of failure in the instinctive centre, and whenever I've been looking at that, I've nearly always found that there's been disruptive information flows coming out of this pelvic brain. So once again, it's turning up as being an incredibly important part, and for all kinds of reasons. I suspect that it's because it's an area of our processing that we don't want to look at. Generally, so in therapy, it's not really looked at, and so on. So it goes. But anyway, look, that's the pelvic brain, and thank you for watching. Please like and share. And there's actually a button on each of these videos, by the way, you can press, and which will subscribe. One of the buttons will subscribe you into the channel, and the other one will take you to the playlist, so the playlist that has all of these videos in it. So, but do like and share, please, and appreciate that. It really helps with the organic growth of what we're doing, and there's a good message here, and I want it shared. Thank you very much. Thank you.